The sky so far, but I can't lose it.
It's Tuesday night, Forza Motorsport Spec Racing here live on Twitch TV. Let's get it going. AMS Storm now here on lap number 34 of 34, jumps into the top spot. And here comes Maverick now, going to make a run to the inside on Drex, perhaps missing his mark. And good evening, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much for tuning in to X-Venture here live on Twitch TV for the Forza Spec Racing Series Season 4 finale. Yes, Season 4, Season 4D is what I mean to say. Yeah, it's been 4 weeks of racing, and it's gone by like that. And here we are in the 5th and final week of Season 40 with the championship still up for grabs. Let's go ahead and take a look at the point standings, so you all see exactly what I'm talking about here. SGR Floofy trying to go back-to-back Season 39, Season 40 with 282 points entering this 5th and final week. Double the points. That's what's up for grabs here in the final race out at Mugello. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But DTS Mondo in second at 272, so 10 points back there. Cratrum with 268, and I think it's the split here between Cratrum and LS Barney where you... if you're Team Cratrium, then you're still in contention for the championship, although you're going to need a lot of things to really work in your favor here to make that possible. And then if you're Team LS Barney, well, there's a real shot to move up into the top 3, a podium finish here in Season 40, but the championship a bit too far out of reach there for LS Barney at 255 points, 254 for Audrex, Barf Monkey at 206, 192 for Kuda 93. Then you got Fear the Fun, Slow Motion Fire, Cheetah B119. And the footnote there at the bottom mentioning that SGR Floofy attempting to go back-to-back season championships and then also their 3rd championship here in Forza Spec Racing Series. As we take a look at the schedule that tells us where we've been and where we've yet to go here in this final race of Season 40. Mugello Autodromo Internazionale. Yes, Italy. 45 laps around that gorgeous track. Pay no mind to my comments there in week number 4 where I said, oh yeah, Mugello, the flat track. You know, no hills whatsoever. I was confusing Mugello for Monza. Yes, I think it was Slow Motion Fire who set me straight there in the driver's spotlight at the end of that broadcast. But no, there's quite a bit of undulation. Tracks like, as we look kind of back at the history here of Season 40, tracks like Road Atlanta, Circuit de Spa, those are going to be tracks where, if we remember kind of how things went there, I think we're going to see a very similar picture in this race. Similar in nature in terms of the track, the corners, relatively high-speed corner. You get a couple of chicanes at the top of the hill, and then you make the downhill slide into the valley and then back uphill a little bit. But it's going to be a quick one. 45 laps, so means that there's going to be some strategy involved. It will require at least one pit stop, at least, and the possibility of maybe even a second, which I don't know that in the time that I've been broadcasting the Forza Spec Racing Series, if we've ever had a finale requiring 2 stops. Now, certainly folks have taken 2 stops, whether it be because of their own mess up or somebody else forcing them into that position. But just inherently, I think this might be a first if it actually comes to fruition. The vehicle itself, if you want to take a look at that, what we've got here, it is the Porsche Carrera GT, the 2003 model. It's been the vehicle for all 8 races up to this point. 582 horsepower, 432 foot-pounds of torque, 3,026 pounds of vehicle curb weight, bringing it in at S800 Performance Index here in Forza Motorsport 7, which is getting up there. And once you get into high A class, S class, and then comes R class, you got some bona fide race cars. And that's exactly what they've been dealing with. SGR Floofy, by the way, the winner of Season 39, the one picking this vehicle and doing quite well at it. Doing quite well. SGR Floofy splitting race victories there in week number 4, and who the other victor was in that duo of races, it eludes me right now. I don't have my notes handily available to recap that one. But back to the standings we go. Again, just a reminder, this is kind of how what you should be looking for. Now, mind you, what is interesting here, and Cheetah B119 is providing us with the info in the chat. There is the drop week rule that is in effect, so you can't just look at race number 5 and go, oh yes, the way that the drivers finish here is going to be representative of where they finish in the season overall. If this happens to be one of the drivers' worst week, it could be scrapped and instead replaced with another week. But really, in this 9th and final race of the season, this is the one that you want to get right, because double the points means half the effort. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's a long race. It's not necessarily half the effort, but if you can pick up 100 points in a single race versus the 50 points that you would get for winning races 1 through 8, that certainly bodes well for the Season 40 resume. We currently have 14 drivers lined up on the grid, and here is another twist. Something that they are trying out that is new in Season 40 is they're going to go reverse grid order. So no qualifying out here at Mugello, but rather will go reverse grid order, and what they are using are the current championship point totals. And so for those drivers who find themselves a little bit further down the list in the championship points, well, guess what? That means you're further up front of the grid ordering. Now, with the speed and skill that we have at the back of the pack, don't let that misconstrue or fool with you in thinking that, oh gosh, Floofy, the championship might be at stake here by starting at the back of the grid. We're going to see those drivers move up with a quickness, and out here at Mugello, where they've got a little bit of elbow room, room to maneuver and to do so quite safely at that, should not be a huge issue. It just makes things a little bit more interesting out there as they get around. 45 laps and the pit stop. We'll see if any drivers want to join us in the driver's spotlight as we get ready for this one. Otherwise, we will we'll turn to the driver's spotlight at the end of the race. I see Slow Motion Fire in the FM4 Discord already giving drivers the 2-minute warning, or excuse me, the 5-minute warning. That was probably 3 minutes ago, so it might very well be a 2-minute warning at this point. 16 drivers now in the lobby, and I'm going to go ahead and switch on over to the screen so that you all could see who exactly we have loaded up. SGR Floofy, no surprise there, trying to pick up the championship. LS Barty, who, as we were looking at the standings, 4th overall coming into this one. Fear the Fun, DTS Mondo, 2nd overall in the standing, so needs a great finish here, and then for Floofy to do even worse than, I don't know, 3rd or 4th. Let's see here. Cheetah providing that info. Championship outcomes. Floofy gets it with a 3rd place finish. DTS Mondo wins it with a 1st place finish and Cratrium. Cratrium or Floofy 4th or worse. And then 1st place finish, well, I don't know. The sentences, they all just kind of run together. But Cheetah has sorted it all out, and those are the different storylines. We'll have Slow Motion Fire jump into the driver's spotlight at the end of the broadcast. He should be able to provide a fairly official yet still unofficial result, just in case they make any calculation errors. But we should have a good idea of the who the championship is going to. And then the winner here of Season 40 gets to pick the vehicle in Season 41. You get the bragging rights, and we'll be back out here in about 3 or 4 weeks' time for Season 41. In what vehicle? What performance index? Who knows? Who knows? It's all up to the winning driver and where they want to go with it, because Floofy, we went from Mazda Miata, however, that was selected by RZ and McQueen, I believe. They're coming out of Season 38, picking the 1990 Mazda MX-5 Miata, and that's where Floofy picked up their 2nd championship, and then selected the S-Class Porsche. And who knows, maybe Floofy comes away as the Season 40 victor. Will drop it down, and actually odds are high that it'll drop down, because S-Class is the highest they go in the Forza Spec Racing Series. They don't flirt with R-Class, X-Class, or any of those. If you want more information about the Forza Spec Racing Series, head on to reddit.com/r/FM4. Get yourself ready for Season 41. Even though the details won't be posted there, you can kind of get an idea of how things work. It's a spec series, so all the vehicles that you see out on the track are sporting the exact same upgrades. The difference becomes clear when you're talking the different drivers behind the wheel and then the tuning. You can make some tuning adjustments depending on which components that have been upgraded permit that here in Forza Motorsport 7. All right, we're up to 18 drivers now. Ovation is in, Audrex, Weisenmitten, CMD Slipstream, Sprazows is in here, Cuda 93, Modern Weapon, Onion with Too Many Eyes, Slow Motion Fire, Patches Riley, Cheetah B119, Born as Ghost, Cratrium, third overall on the leaderboard, and my favorite name in the lot, Barf Monkey 22, is out there on the track as well. And any moment now, we might be loading up and heading out. Again, no qualifying, so I gotta hesitate to say we're going out for the 3 laps of qualifying, because that is not the case. Nicky Bobby now jumping into the mix here. I'm gonna partake in the finale. Nicky Bobby not on our leaderboard, our overall leaderboard of 20, but that's okay. Even if you can't race an entire season, even if you're not the fastest driver out there, just come out here and make it interesting. And by that, I mean just be competitive in your own right. You don't have to be competing for the top spot, but competitive amongst whichever drivers you do find yourself in good company with, and then race cleanly. That is it. That's all they require. It's not a whole heck of a lot at all. Yeah, this is the end of Season 40, which for those of you who want to continue to watch X-Venture over the next 3 or 4 Tuesdays, do know that I will have more content coming that is outside of Forza Motorsport 7. I talked a little bit about this on Friday and Sunday. What I'm kind of leaning toward is a bit of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Perhaps the upcoming Tuesday, a week from tonight, maybe a little bit of SnowRunner, maybe American Truck Simulator if the Wyoming content lands. So for those of you who enjoy your time here tonight and then say, I don't want the fun to end, I don't want to have to wait for another 3 or 4 weeks to tune back in, don't worry. I'll be here 8 p.m. Eastern time with gameplay of some nature. I can't guarantee, well, except for maybe Microsoft Flights. I'm close. I'm very, very close to guaranteeing that for next Tuesday. So if you're interested in where we're going to fly to and fly from, tune on in. It should be a fun time. All right, I think we're getting dangerously close here. Most of the drivers are all readied up. Back to the standings we go. And for those of you uninitiated here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, this will be a simulation damage race, which means we will have both tire degradation, fuel depletion, and then damage to the vehicle whenever there is contact made amongst drivers or with immovable objects. You don't want to hit those. The pit lane entry here at Mugello is a pretty easy one. You'll be able to identify it pretty easily with the red, white, and green, the colors of Italy painted on the tarmac as you come off the final left-hander and downhill toward the start-finish line. You've got kind of a look down into the valley, which sets you up nicely to plan your entry into pit lane. It's a relatively short pit lane. I don't expect you to spend any more than maybe about 35 seconds before you're back out on the track, heading toward the very interesting turn number 1. And especially here with the reverse grid ordering, turn 1 could hopefully not be too catastrophic for anybody, but it could certainly factor in very, very early on the race if it gets a little too rambunctious in there. But 45 laps. Take it easy. Take it easy. There's a look at the grid. We'll go ahead and put the camera on Modern Weapon. Weisenman will be out on pole. And again, this is reverse grid order. Soul Motion Fire, let me know there in the chat that we are getting ready to go. Let me turn down my microphone or my audio here a little bit. You all should be good on your end. Let's do this. Race number 9 of Season 40. revving of the engine as soon as Weisenmitten moves in the slightest. Everybody else is free to depart. Here we go. Kick the tires, light the fires. Race number 9, season 40, underway at Mugello. Will SGR Floofy cap things off with another victory and a back-to-back season championship? Into turn number 1 they go. Modern Weapon makes a little bit of contact. One of the vehicles is going to be off into the kitty litter. I believe that is Modern Weapon's vehicle. Let's go back up toward the front here. Cheetah in 4th position, and a little bit of sideways action here coming into the S's. The first of 2 S's here on the out lap of this 45-lap race. And now coming up to the second S, the second chicane here at Mugello. Then you make that also tricky right-hander to go downhill. You don't have any runoff area, as a matter of fact. You got a little bit of curbing to work with, and then it is grass all the way down. 3 wide. Cheetah, fear the fun. And I'm trying to make out who that, the matte black with the pink stripe there down the driver's side. And now we've got cars turned around here as they come down the hill and get ready to approach the back half of the circuit. And this could be a consequence of the speedier drivers who were placed at the back of the grid trying to make their way up through the field with a quickness. I don't know if that's the best approach. You might want to just be a little easy with it. 45 laps is a very, very long time here at the 3.26-mile Mugello circuit. Let's go up to SGR Floofy, talking about drivers who have gone from the back of the pack to the front. SGR Floofy, being our overall points leader, was at the very back of this 20-car start and is now just 1 car away from being back up to, where he's most comfortable. Weisenmitten is the only driver standing in the way. Remember, Weisenmitten started this race on pole due to the reverse grid ordering, and now here comes Floofy. Ball hawking Weisen as they go down the front straightaway, across the line, beginning of lap number 2, past pit lane there. You see it off on the right-hand side of the straight. Weisenmitten locks him up a little bit. That might have Floofy a little hesitant to go into turn number 1 heavy, and instead he just sits back a little bit, now about a car and a half length back from Weisen as they go back through the S's once again. Let's go to the X-Venture rewind just to see a little bit of the action there as they came out of the second S's section, and that's when things kind of got a little messy. And on the right-hand side now, we see SGR Floofy moves into the top spot. Audrex back there in 3rd position. Audrex has made quite a move up toward the top. And he now will have to get around Weisenmitten. You see LS Barney there in 4th position. Let's go to LS Barney, chasing down Audrex, and let's go ahead and ride on board. If you would have asked me when I thought SGR Floofy would find himself back into the top spot, I would not have guessed just at the beginning of lap number 2. I know he's quick, but I would have thought, give him 4 or 5 laps. He'll be back up there. No. Within, less than a quarter of lap number 2, already up there, and that puts Barney, Audrex, and DTS Mondo, who currently sits in 13th position, 12th. DTS Mondo, our second driver on the overall leaderboard with the Ninja Turtles livery, is way back in this massive pack from 9th on back to what appears to be 14th or 15th. Patches Riley leading that crew. And now there goes Slipstream. He gets a little bit sideways action going, getting up onto the driver's side door of Cuda 93. And now here comes Cheetah and Patches side by side. Mondo just barely up to 11th now. Snags 10th. Probably thinking, hey guys, I mean, I can't hang out here with y'all for long. I got to get going. And so now Mondo just with one more car to get around. There's Cheetah to the outside. Mondo snags the inside. He'll line it up nicely here for the apex. Another S's corner out here in Mugello, and just like that, Mondo up to 9th position. Next driver in his sights, Born as Ghost. Let's go to Barney in 3rd. Has found a way, well, not around Audrex. It's that they found a way around Weisenman. Weisenman now falling back to 5th position. Cratrim in 4th. Barney in 3rd. Audrex in 2nd. Floofy out in front across the line, beginning of lap 4. And let's go ahead and run through the field. I'll just reverse it. SGR Floofy, Audrex, Barney, Cratrim, then in 5th, Weisenmitten, Barf Monkey, Soul Motion Fire, Born as Ghost, DTS Mondo, and Slipstream. That's your top 10. Beyond them, it's Onion with Too Many Eyes, Cheetah, Cuda, Sprazows, Patches Riley, Nicky Bobby, Fear the Fun, Modern Weapon, and I thought 20 had started, but maybe it was just 19, and we have lost somebody early in the race. It's going to be waiting for the ticker to show us here. It's going to be Ovation, unfortunately. Ovation on the wheel and pedals. Out of the race. I think that was back on lap number 2. Let's go to Barf Monkey, trying to make a pass up into the top 5 around Weisenmitten. Got the Pringles livery. I'm not entirely sure that those are the Pringles colors, however. Liberal use of the brand trademark, but that's okay. There's no penalty assessed for that. No, not at all. And let's see if Barf Monkey, well, you're not going to try it right here. This is yet another S corner, but this is probably the more difficult of the 4 or 5 that are out here at Mugello. Now, in the Pringles can car, goes Barf Monkey to the inside into that downhill left-hander, makes the pass. Weisenmitten well off the optimal driving line. And there you see, yeah, that's the painted red, white, and green there off to the right for the pit entry. Let's take a look at the vehicle situation here for Barf Monkey, and that might give us a bit of an indication of, oh gosh, there we go. Let's try to get everything, back. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. Up to 20% already here on lap 5. Tire degradation for the front of Barf Monkey's 4 wheels, 87% in the fuel tank. So fuel, I think, just obviously would have been an issue. However, which is kind of unusual here in FM4, it might be the tire degradation that necessitates the stop before the fuel actually does. Usually it's the fuel that is well gone before the tires. Let's go to Cratrim in 4th. Challenging LS Barney right now for 3rd. And Cratrim is up to 3rd now. Cratrim 3rd overall. The most victorious driver in Forza Spec Racing Series history with 9 championships to his name. It's a large sample size, however. Cratrim is a seasoned veteran here of FM4. I think if there was such a thing as the FM4 Hall of Fame, he's got the criteria to be a shoo-in. Now out of that final right-hander down the hill. You see Cratrim opt to stay off of the curbing, whereas LS Barney did get the right-hand tires up onto the curbing, and it seemed to have put the car into a bit of a fit. But Barney able to hold on to it with ease. Back up the hill. Lap number 6. Appreciate y'all spending a little bit of your Tuesday night here on Xventure, and those of you who might be watching on demand, thank you very much. If you're new to the channel, you're enjoying what you see right now, but there's a whole heck of a lot more of where this came from. Be here in, I want to say it's 3 weeks. I believe Slow Motion Firing Company will get things rolling for Season 41 in 3 weeks. Actually, 4 weeks from tonight, with a 3-week off season. But click that follow button. That way it's easy to find the channel moving forward. Love to have you back, just like Blue Dog Sim. Thank you very much there, Blue Dog Sim. Like the name. Things have seemed to be a bit sorted out here in the top 4. Let's go back to DTS Mondo, who is now in 5th position. Barf Monkey in 6th. MRDABZ. Thank you so much. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. Barf Monkey relinquishing a top 5 spot. To be expected, the reverse grid ordering here, a first for FM4 in the finale, and these are the names, DTS Mondo and the like, are those are the names that we thought we would see up front, and certainly that's exactly what's happening. DTS Mondo, unfortunately, just taking a little bit longer than everybody else. Let's go to a battle for 7th position, Slow Motion Fire, and Weisenmitten, our pole sitter for the start of the race, and did a good job, might I say, leading everybody around there on lap number 1. It's just SGR Floofy was too much to hold off for another 44 laps. Blue Dog Sim says, thank you, I'm a huge fan of sim racing. Very, very cool. And yeah, I mean, if you're a Forza Motorsport fan, know that as we continue to trek toward the new release of the Forza Motorsport title, I believe the Forza Spec Racing Series, this league that you're seeing right here, might very well be one of the first to traverse into a scheduled series for the next Forza Motorsport title. Like, as Slow Motion... Oh, and look at that! Weisenmitten came up quickly onto the back of Slow Motion. Fortunately, was able to lock him up just enough to keep from hitting Slow Motion Fire. And he's over there building sandcastles now in the dirt. We'll go ahead and pull that one back up here on the Xventure Rewind. Slow Motion Fire might have had an oh no moment right there. He might have seen himself getting taken out as they come up the hill, and Weisenmitten maybe just too fixated on the back end of Slow Motion Fire's rear bumper, and that can happen. You get that tunnel vision, and you're not paying attention to your brake markers. Blue Dog Sim says, I'm using the ABC lobbies to learn the tracks with no notes to get ready for the... There you go. That's what I like to hear. The prep work. Well, hey, Blue Dog Sim, if you're interested, Season 41, no matter your skill level, FM4 is always looking for drivers to join the ranks. Head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4. Ovation, unfortunately, saying sitting on the sidelines tonight. I don't know if that was a voluntary removal from the race, if you stepped away yourself, or what happened there. Ovation, that we saw you on the grid. Would have loved to have seen you all the way through to the race, but I don't know if it was a DNF or just a bad start. But thanks for hanging out with us at least. Let's go back to 10th here. Weisenmitten falling a bit further back, but really the challenge here for Weisenmitten, who started on pole due to the reverse grid ordering based on championship points. Let's see how many drivers Weisenmitten can hold off and maybe snag a nice finish here in the finale. SGR Floofy still our race leader. Audrex in second, Kratrum in third, Barney in fourth, Mondo in fifth, Barf Monkey in sixth, and really first through sixth is pretty relaxed at this point in the race. Slow Motion Fire, who got around Barf Monkey, and then Barf Monkey ejected himself off the track. Slow Motion Fire now trying to hold off Slipstream. And actually, Barf Monkey has... pardon me, not Barf Monkey. It was Weisenmitten that was closing in on Slow Motion Fire. Barf Monkey up to sixth position in the Pringles car. Nice little battle here for a second. Let's go to Kratrum. Blue Dog Sim. I'll have to do that. I'm practicing a lot because I want to be decent enough to get into the... Yeah, and so, make no mistakes, FM4, they're competitive by nature because it's a racing league. However, it is very accommodating to drivers of all skill levels. I guarantee you're going to find somebody out here who is equally skilled as you. And we got Modern Weapon turned around, coming down the hill. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be vying for the championship to be having some hard-fought racing out here. It's really, as you can see there on the map, we've got cars all over the place. And what I would say is make a goal to be in the top 20. Really strive for the top 20. That's the leaderboard that I assemble for the broadcast. We take a look at the top 20 drivers. So if there's any help you need in establishing a goal, there you go. I've got it for you. Be in the top 20. Kratrum now through the right-hander, trying to hang tight with Audrex, and Kratrum actually usually finds himself out in front of Audrex. Audrex trying to stave off the man formerly known as C-Tom. What's up there, Dino Dado? What's going on? You guys make sure to tune in to Dino Dado. I think, Dino, you released kind of your new streaming schedule Monday, Fridays, and Saturdays? Am I right? There you go, Blue Dog Sim. There's the link for you. But you guys, if you want more racing excitement from the perspective of a driver, Dino Dado is a good entertainer and driver. The best of both worlds. Doing a lot of Assetto, what is it, Assetto Corsa, or mostly iRacing? Here comes Kratrum on track side by side. Kratrum was on the outside. Now he'll be lined up nicely here for the inside of this next S, and then find himself back on the outside unless he can get out front, and he does. And so just like that, Kratrum, who is third overall on the leaderboard right now, just behind DTS Mondo by 4 points. Kratrum in second. Audrex not going to give in that easily, though. He's going to hang tight. And look at this. Looks like maybe he was going to try for the outside, but decided not to. Probably a wise decision. Just make use of the slipstream, and there goes Kratrum. Gets a couple of wheels off into the dirt, and within the same lap, Audrex finds himself back up to second. iRacing these days. There you go. So, I mean, iRacing content is good content. I enjoy it. What are you up to? Are you doing the truck racing or NASCAR, or have you found something else? But yeah, so far so good. Here comes Kratrum now out of the right-hander. Going to make use of that slipstream, which drivers have alluded to. It is there. It is a thing. Some cars here in FM7, Forza Motorsport 7, the effect is either negligible or just not enough to really amount to anything. But we have heard here in Season 40 with the Porsche Carrera GTs that slipstream is a thing. Now up to the S's. They go side by side. Once again, Drex, he's got his work cut out for him here over the next 35 laps. 34 laps. Wow. Yeah, I don't try to go side by side with anybody through. This is where I wave the white flag and say, oh, go ahead. You got this. Well, look at that. Very well orchestrated or coordinated there between the two of them. Drex going to hold on to second for right now. The Prazelnut, or Prazelnut, who knows? Does anybody really know? It's the Prazelnut Porter there on, on the livery of Cratrium. One of the No Coast Brewing liveries, I think. Oh, you started your hand at LMP2 car. Well, you have done a few LMP cars in some of the endurance races, though, right? That and that's always a hoot to watch. You guys check out Dino Dado and the crew that he races with for some of iRacing's endurance events. That's some fun stuff to watch right there. We need that level of team-based racing here in Forza Motorsport. It's always interesting to see them coordinate the handoff. Blue Dog says, I would rather be following with 35 laps to go than being the one. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Cratrium, very, very strong. Drex, he can hold his own, but I don't know that anybody can rightfully say that they would love having Cratrium tagging along on their back bumper through the entirety of a race. That's not a gift. Floofy, our race leader, and by, well, I just missed it on the ticker, but if I had to guess, maybe a good 20-25 seconds here over second and third. And now here comes Drex and Cratrium rolling up on Nicky Bobby. Nicky Bobby, who just goes ahead and comes off the accelerator on the inside of the double right-handers on the far corner of the track. Kindly waving these two by, and then not too far behind, LS Barney in fourth. Right, that looks unpleasant. Yeah, if you got Cratrium in your rearview mirror, you know you're doing good. You know you're doing good, but then you also know that you're gonna be like bobbing and weaving, and you're going to find yourself looking in that rearview mirror more times than looking forward. Here comes DTS Mondo. So not only is Barney still within reach here of second and third, but DTS Mondo, who was the one driver of the lot struggling to get through the grid, now up into the top five. And may very quickly here be up to fourth with a shot at a podium spot. Now, our race leader, he's a ways out there, but with pit strategy, if you find the right time to go in that keeps you out of the mix of the back markers, if that means going in early, maybe that's the advantage you need. Now, going in early then puts you at risk of having some very worn-out tires at the end of the race. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the situation here for LS Barney. And oh my gosh, already up to 66% up front with only 63%, or excuse me, I shouldn't say only 63%, with 63% of fuel remaining in the tank. So again, fuel is not the concern here in the ninth and final race of Season 40. The tires are what's going to get you. You start getting that understeer, and where before you might have been able to go into a corner pretty quick, those tires give up on you, and the nose of the car just keeps sliding. And now here into the horseshoe, LS Barney on the low line, DTS Mondo looking on the high line. They'll go single file into the S's here. This is not a place where you want to try your luck. DTS Mondo, though, is just going to be right on the back bumper. DTS Mondo sporting the flag of Mexico. Trying to make a run at LS Barney, a member of the Lightspeed esports team. And DTS Mondo into pit lane. So DTS Mondo now opting to get a fresh set of tires. He's going to go ahead and get passed here by Barf Monkey and Slipstream. But there you go. That's the strategy coming to play. And maybe DTS Mondo is thinking, hey, if I can get in between what looks to be actually DTS Mondo coming out back onto the track, just out in front of Slipstream, and can he hold on to sixth and stay out in front? No, he's going to fall back one spot as Slipstream moves up. But DTS Mondo, the one driver with a fresh set of racing tires. Weisenmitten, who is in 12th, also, well, actually, nope, the timing is off. That looks like it's going to be Sprazaus. Nope. Sorry, the timing here in FM7 is not the greatest. It makes it difficult for me to pick the right driver in pit lane. They're currently exiting. It is Weisenmitten, I think. Let's see. It is. Weisenmitten now exiting pit lane. Fresh set of tires, full tank of fuel. Let's go back up to the battle for second. Cratrium has gotten around Audrex. Dino Dado says, I like what I hear about the improvements they're putting into the new game. Oh, yes. Talk about Forza Motorsport, the next title. Chris Sasaki there of Turn 10 Studios, who has really kind of put a new face to the Forza brand, right? Kind of stepped into where previously the likes of Brian Eckberg and Dan Greenewalt really were kind of the prominent faces and voices of Forza. It's right in line with kind of the new fresh development cycle or development approach that they're taking, is that we get a different perspective. Somebody who's coming in onto the team and is apparently shaking things up in a good way. Just what the doctor ordered. Something new here in the, gosh, what are we closing in on? Closing in on 20 years of Forza Motorsport? It's a ways out, 2025, but closing in on it. Racham now establishing a bit of a lead here on Audrex. Let's go back a little bit there with DTS Mondo. Looking for a way around LS Barney. Sometimes we get some exceptional camera angles here in Forza Motorsport, and this final chicane out here at Mugello is one example. And we were talking about how intimidating it must be to have Cratrim, but going into a very tricky left-right with Mondo not letting up, that can't be any easy task. A little bit more separation here, and we'll see if Audrex, let's see if he goes in. I'm guessing he's going to go in. I'm going to call it here. He does not. Dang it. I tried to Tony Romo it, and I failed. LS Barney in fourth. Bark Monkey in fifth. Sixth is DTS Mondo, who does have the fresh set of tires. About 2 laps now onto those. CMB Slipstream in seventh. Born as Ghost in eighth. Kuda in ninth. Soul Motion Fire in 10th position. Let's go to 10th. Dino Dado says, exactly, I love what Chris and the team are doing. And that's... It's a lose-lose situation with the community where a lot of folks have said, gosh, there's so much about the Forza Motorsport franchise that needs to change. It needs to evolve. We need to iterate beyond just little incremental updates from year to year. or every 2 years is what the cadence was. And then as soon as they say, well, the development for Forza Motorsport, the unnumbered title is going to take a little bit longer, then there's the moans and the groans of like, oh, we're not hearing anything, we're not seeing. Well, yeah, they're taking the time. So that just means that we are here with, I guess what we would say is a bit of an antiquated product, but, you know, it's... I'm optimistic that it will yield good things here with the next title, and hopefully a lot of the things that people have been clamoring for and have been saying that, you know, as far as a next-gen racing title, now that we're on these next-gen platforms, they've got to have these. Well, okay, they need the time to develop those, and I sincerely look forward to seeing how much of that makes it in, and then, of course, how much gets left for maybe future updates or future iterations, but should be pretty exciting. Let's go to 6th with CMD Slipstream. He's tucked in between 5th position of LS Barney and then 7th of Born as Ghost. Blue Dog Sim looks like a couple of wars are going on. Be interesting to see their pit strategies. Yes, indeed. I don't know. Let me try to forecast this one. I'm thinking one of these three are going to be in the pit lane, whether it be Barney, Slipstream, or Born as Ghost. Let's go back to Born as Ghost, and then we can see if that is the case. All right, I'm 0 for 2. I tried. They're listening, and they just don't want to oblige the racers. They don't like acquiescing to my predictions. They don't like it, like the feeling of the commentator calling the shots. That's not it at all. That is not it at all. By the way, Kratrim is our new race leader. Audrex moves up to 2nd. SGR Floofy has gone into pit lane. Fresh set of tires, 98% in the fuel tank, and so the number 92 car tentatively, very tentatively, falls back to 3rd. It's going to be only a matter of time before Kratrim and Audrex see to it that they have sufficient grip. 81% there on the front left of Kratrim's Carrera GT, and with 582 horsepower, lots of torque, and the desire to go fast, 80% of tire degradation is not what you want to see, and how far can they push it? Here comes Kratrim, nose into pit lane, and it looks like Audrex is going to follow suit, and so just like that, SGR Floofy will reclaim first position. Born as Ghost in 7th. Slipstream. Barney a little bit further ahead as they come out of the left-hander down the hill. Oh, yeah, you see Born as Ghost. Well, I think he juked us there. It looked like he was going to go in, and there at the, not the last minute necessarily, but went ahead and pulled the Carrera GT back in line here. That or he was just following the footsteps of Slipstream, but man, the tire situation is getting, well, not as dire here. So this is interesting. This is indicative of how different driving styles generate different levels of tire degradation. And interestingly enough, on Born as Ghost vehicle, you've got 65, 67% on all 4 corners. Not necessarily degradation favoring the front, but pretty balanced all across. And that might just give Born as Ghost a little bit more runtime, a few more laps. Oh, and Modern Weapon off the track again in the same area. Modern Weapon. Well, hold on. That doesn't seem right. Oh, I thought I saw 8th. It's actually 18th. And now Modern Weapon is just kind of parked on the grass there. No damage to the vehicle. Did go into pit lane, and now going to get back underway, maybe just waiting there for traffic to pass before, well, the struggle is real. That's what 582 horsepower in the turf will do to you. As we go back now up to 9th position, Slipstream, chasing down Slow Motion Fire. Slow Motion Fire entering the 9th and final race of Season 40 in 9th overall. 172 points. Fear the Fun with 189. Fear the Fun. Donde está? Fear the Fun in 12th. And Slow Motion Fire will go into pit lane. Slipstream going to stay out there. 75% up front, 60 in the back. Very interesting there. The difference in degradation across the drivers with how they have their vehicles set up, how they've been driving the vehicle. Very interesting. Let's go to DTS Mondo, who is now encroaching on Audrex territory. Wants that top 3. DTS Mondo has gone into pit lane. Fresher tires, although they're already a quarter of the way down in grip on the front. Been a terrific season. If you want to watch any of it back, you can head on over to the video tab here on Twitch. Look for the past broadcast section of that video tab, and you can see all of the races here in Season 40 in their entirety. If you want to look a little bit further back into the history books of FM4, at least back to Season 26, that's the earliest at which I started streaming here for FM4, head on over to YouTube. You have the link there, care of Nightbot. Across the line, beginning of lap 20 here in the season finale. And we've got, predictably, cars all over the track. Now, throughout Season 40, that hasn't necessarily been the case. We've seen the drivers a lot closer. However, it's this very unique bit of tire wear in this race here that has, I feel like, had a significant impact on the pack-style racing, where traditionally we have about 4 or 5 cars grouped up mid-pack around the 10th through 15th position. We just don't have that, but rather these onesie-twosie battles. And this one here for third, it's a good one. DTS Mondo. We saw Mondo's vehicle situation. Let's take a look at Audrex, what he's dealing with. He's got fresh tires. So if Mondo has to go in before, and again, this is assuming that a second pit stop is in the cards. If Mondo goes in early, that could favor him. Whereas Audrex or Barney, if they go in a little bit later, then they're going to have that fewer number of laps at the back end of the race to catch back up to Mondo, who, without a doubt, will have more tire degradation. But if he's established a good enough lead, that might be all he needs. So DTS Mondo being the first of the top 5 drivers, or 5 drivers in the top 5 to go into pit lane, really is going to be, I think, at least from what I'm seeing right now and how I'm calculating things, could have a big influence on the top 4, maybe even top 5. Right now, 5th is occupied by LS Barney. SGR Floofy still with a commanding lead in this one, although coming up on, let's see, I count at least 1, 2, 3, 4 back markers within maybe the next lap. And although I don't wish it upon any of our drivers, you just never know when you start dealing with lap traffic, and in a race like this where it can become a bit tiresome for some drivers. They're not as alert Maybe they have a lesser of a tendency to pay attention behind them. They think that they're just kind of cruising alone, and the next thing they know, they have the race leader behind them, and that can spell trouble. But we'll see. Maybe Floofy very well may have a strategy to that too, where he finds a way to kind of alert them, whether it be kind of zigzagging behind them to catch their attention or whatever. There are some things that you could try to think through to alleviate any mishaps. One of them being that you use the comms. They use Discord here in the Forza Spec Racing Series to help minimize any incidents when you're passing a slower car. Let's go ahead and ride on board with Audrex. Blue Dog Seb there in the chat says the slipstream probably is helping those cars separate and pull away from the pack. Yeah, this is definitely one of those races where it seems to be advantageous for you to buddy up with somebody, or at least stick with them to get where you ultimately want to go and not lose sight of them, because if you find yourself all by yourself, that you have no slipstream. And for those cars who are buddying up, that just gives them a little bit of a speed advantage as they make use of the aerodynamics of each other to kind of propel them forward just that little bit quicker. Comes Patches Riley, going to hunker down on the inside here, the final left-hander, letting out Drex scoot on past. Very well done. That's all you got to do here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. You don't have to dart out of the way. You don't have to throw the brakes on. You don't have to throw a proverbial hand out the window and wave them on past. No, you just hold your line, and the leaders, the talent and skill that we have at the front of the pack, they're going to find their way around you, and they know how to do that if you hold a line. If you are waffling between driving lines, that's when it gets a bit more complicated. SGR Floofy just continues to pour it on, expanding upon that lead, and now back out into clean air with just one back marker in the foreseeable future here on this next lap through, lap 24 of 45. We got, looks like Slipstream in the pit lane. Let's go to confirm that. And sure enough, Slipstream now emerging in 10th position. Here the fun in 11th closing in. But now Slipstream has the advantage of the two with the fresh tires. Back to fourth with Audrex. Cowabunga, they're on the back of DTS Mondo Carrera GT. 582 horsepower. .432 foot-pounds of torque. Vehicle weighing in at 3,026 pounds of curb weight. They've opted to throw the Ferrari V12 just in front of the rear axle, so a mid-mounted engine, this Porsche. But then they have upgraded or restricted it with the homologation restrictor plate. Helps bring down that horsepower a little bit to 582, just below 600. Race flywheel, race chassis reinforcement, and the roll cage. The roll cage is a staple here of the Forza Spec Racing Series. I'm almost certain every vehicle gets that treatment from season to season. Race weight reduction still keeps it above 3,000, but in the Carrera GT and all that power, you do want a little bit more weight to keep those wheels planted. Sport transmission, race differential. It's a race tire compound, which gives them plenty of grip, but plenty of grip over a prolonged period of time means a lot of friction, a lot of heat. A lot of heat means a lot of wear. That means the tires, these race tires, are giving in a bit sooner. Definitely a lot quicker than what we've seen in the previous 8 races. And then you've got 285 30s on a 20-inch rim at the front. 355s, a bit wider of a tire on a 20-inch rim at the rear. And those are CRKAIs in terms of the rim style. How much tuning are they allowed to do? Asked Blue Dog Sim. If the component that the vehicle's spec sheet includes, so that was a horrible way of wording it. Let me just put it this way: any upgrade that gets applied to the car, if in Forza Motorsport 7 there is a tuning capability with that component, you can tune to your heart's content. So whether it be from the transmission, granted on the sport transmission, that means it's very limited tuning, but to aero, you've got some aero adjustments you can make. However, they don't have the aero applied here to the Porsche Carrera GT, so you're working with stock aero. But anything from tire pressures to if you've got the, let's see, they've got the race differential, so you can mess around with the locking of the differential. As long as the component is tunable in Forza Motorsport 7, you are free to use it. Now, don't let that scare you off. If you're not the best of tuners, or if you're a absolutely atrocious tuner like myself, then know that in FM4 they've got a lot of folks who are very happy to help out, give you some pointers. If you just straight up want to borrow a tune, they're open to that. Here comes DTS Mondo looking to make the move from third to second. A little bit of a tap there on crate trim's front right quarter panel, and just like that, DTS Mondo has gone from somewhere around 18th to now second. Has made the best recovery of any of the drivers, only because it took so long for him to move up. He got caught up in the traffic, whereas Floofy and crate trim were able to kind of work their way through a bit easier. DTS Mondo's had a harder road, a more difficult road. And yet finds himself in second. You tune all your own. Very good there, Blue Dog Sim. Yeah, I mean, and that's a great way to learn too. You know, you tune them, and you may not be the best at tuning. However, you get out on the racetrack and you're like, man, this thing just doesn't want to turn. Well, you know, you went the wrong direction with your setup, and so it's a great way to pick it up. I just don't have the. I just don't have the willpower to fine tune. That's just all there is to it. That's why I'm doing this and these guys are doing that. For sure. DTS Mondo up to second. Let's go to the X-Venture rewind. To see that pass there. Mondo all around Creatrum for second. Very well done. Now let's see if DTS Mondo can be the ultimate hard charger here and catch up with Floofy. The gap from 11th to 2nd that DTS Mondo overcame was definitely a larger gap from 2nd to 1st. The difference is definitely the driver's skill out there, but if DTS Mondo can just really put the pedal to the metal, hit his corners, and pick up time each and every lap here with a little bit less than half the race remaining, then it is not out of the realm of possibility. SGR Floofy. Let's actually go up to SGR Floofy here. A little bit camera time for our race leader. And here is Floofy's situation. 55% tire wear is the most at this point. Now make that 56 there on the front left. 30s at the back. 30% there on the rear. I don't think the drivers are really going to feel those. It's up front with those steering wheels. The wheels that have you carving through the corners. That's where the tire degradation changes up your cornering capability. Ellis Barney in 5th. All on his lonesome. And now let's go back to DTS Mondo closing in on one of the back markers. Ovation there in the chat says, "Go, Wiesen, go!" Yeah, Wiesen, who was our pole sitter by the nature of the reverse grid ordering based on championship points. Currently in 14th position. Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire, and Ovation now out of the race. So make that 3 of the 19 who started, unfortunately, out just beyond the halfway point. Luckily, we are hanging tight to our top 5 drivers. They are safe and sound out there on the track right now. Cratrim with Sprazows. Sprazows having a nice run. Sprazows not getting stick time all throughout Season 40, but rather just a few races here and there in 13th, or excuse me, in 11th. Blue Dog Sim, it does take a lot of patience and time. I'll be working on my Forza GT garage after this race. Very cool, very cool. They don't get to Forza GT status here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, and I would venture to guess that we will not be racing S-Class. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. It depends on where SGR Floofy wants to go with Season 41, but I would say the odds are probably very high that we'll be below S-Class. It's all in the hands of the driver who wins the championship. What will the Season 41 vehicle be? Let's go to Audrex, 4th position. Across the line, beginning of lap 29. For those of you who might just be joining us here on X-Venture live on Twitch TV, you're watching the Season 40 finale of the Forza Spec Racing Series season. I just said Season 40. 40 seasons dating back to Forza Motorsport 4, one of the longest run community series you will find within the Forza community, and a very, very good one at that. If you enjoy the content, just know that when we start a brand new season in about 4 weeks' time, it's going to be that much more exciting because all the points get wiped clean. All the drivers are theoretically, mathematically in the running. And how they do things here in the Forza Spec Racing Series is that the champion will pick the vehicle, but then the drivers, you'll get to guess from some obscure photos that Slow Motion Fire takes of the vehicle that is chosen by the champion. And by obscure, I mean like micro photography or macro photography, I should say. And if you can make out the details of what the vehicle is in the Reddit forum for FM4, cast your actually no, I think you message Slow Motion Fire. That way, not everybody sees what your guess is. You can message Slow Motion Fire, and if you guess correctly as a driver there in Season 41, you get to pick one of the 9 tracks to be raced in Season 41, which could give you an advantage if there's a track that you find yourself to be notably or exceptionally good at. Or you could just pick it because you think it poses the greatest challenge to the drivers based on whatever the car is. So can't encourage you enough. Head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4 as soon as the Season 41 details are there to include registration info. Then get yourself signed up, get your vehicle set up accordingly, and then we hope to see you out here on the track. And who knows, we may be following you around here on the X-Venture broadcast. Been hanging out here to see if Audrex is going to be able to close the gap on Cratrium. DTS Mondo has moved back to 4th position after going into pit lane again. So Mondo on a second pit stop, and I don't think you want any more than 2. Two was the very most that, well, the very minimum that I thought would be needed for this race. No, very most. And DTS Mondo has hit that mark. And so we'll see here with 34 and a quarter laps remaining if that's going to pay off for him. That strategy. Back to Floofy, race leader. Second is Cratrium. Third is Audrex. Fourth is Mondo. Barney in 5th. Barf Monkey in 6th. Born as Ghost in 7th. Kuda in 8th. Slipstream and Fear the Fun. These two having a nice little tango for 10th. That's really the closest battle now we have out here on the track as we go to Fear the Fun. And look at this. Kuda and Slipstream making things interesting here for Fear the Fun. 8, 9, and 10, and it's not just a 2-way battle, it's a 3-way battle. Slow Motion Fire reading my mind. Oh, and there goes Kuda, who was wide into the entry on the right-hander of that S, and unfortunately, that sent Fear the Fun out into the dirt. He had no choice. He had nowhere to go. And so what progress Fear the Fun had made catching up to 8th, he's gonna have to fight through it again here. And fight through it, it might be an understatement. Currently at 77% on that front left as they go into that right-hander, which is just gonna put more pressure, more tire wear onto that front left. And so, I don't know, it could be very difficult to catch back up to 9th and 8th before needing a pit stop. Speaking of which, our race leader, SGR Floofy, into the stall. And now on the exit. And here comes Kratrim in second. He will momentarily take the top spot. Floofy will gladly snag it back. Let's go to Kratrim real quick here. Up to 68% up front. In the 40s on the back two. And Audrex in third. Pretty much right there in line with Kratrim in terms of tire situation. Luffy, as soon as those tires warm up, there is a little bit of a warm-up period for those fresh tires. As soon as those are up to operating temperature, then we should see Floofy sneaking on by Kratrim with ease. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with our race. Well, not at this moment, our race leader, SGR Floofy. Here comes Floofy to try to take back what at this point in the race is rightfully his. He's been dominant out there. It's only because of the change or the difference in pit strategy that Floofy is in second at the moment. Ooh, a little squirrely there. The past 2 seasons, I've started to enjoy the cars right around the 3rd or 4th week. Is that normal, says Ovation, and then Slow Motion Fire follows that up by saying yes. Seems like that by then everyone is getting settled in. The racing is more predictable and closer. And then it's time to change the car again. And there goes Kratrim into pit lane. Floofy, uncontested, back into first. Audrex is going to be into pit lane, so Kratrim and Audrex on the same strategy here. Let's go to DTS Mondo, who has already made that second stop and is going to be maybe slightly disadvantaged here on the tire situation, but if he could play good defense, that might be all it takes heading into turn number 1, trying to really go as quick and escape Kratrim and Audrex as quickly as he can. Establish that lead here with 11 laps remaining. And probably, yeah, he probably will have to play a little bit of defense here in the remaining few laps, or at least he would be hoping to, rather than trying to catch back up if Audrex and Kratrim make it around him. But DTS Mondo, remember, second overall in the points. Now, Where with Floofy, where he's at right now, that doesn't give Mondo, despite the exceptional and noteworthy performance here, does not give him a chance to win the championship. But, you know, sometimes it's just about building that momentum. And if that means taking that momentum into the next season, and it is what it is. I mean, if you've run out of weeks here in Season 40, well, then just have a good finish in the finale and try to make that work for you. Now, of course, an entirely different vehicle going into Season 40 doesn't make that transition seamless. It's, as Slow Motion Fire is alluding to there in the chat, you've got to get up to speed with a new car. If there's a fair amount of tuning involved, then you want to make sure your tune is optimal for your driving style and the track. So carrying transition from season to season is a little bit more difficult executed than it is said. Now DTS Mondo into turn number 1 here on lap 35. Let's go to Barf Monkey in 8th, Slipstream in 7th. But that is the beauty of FM4, is that you might get comfortable in a car, but maybe the next season you don't have that learning curve, or you don't have that adjustment time. Maybe you're quicker to pick up the ability, the capability of a vehicle. Maybe it's a lower performance index. Maybe it's an A-class or a B-class or a C-class car that you're just a bit more comfortable in. That could help. That helps too. Let's give our folks running the race a little bit further back a little bit of love. We've got Onion with Too Many Eyes and Cheetah, a battle for 12th. Onion with the orange number plate there you see on the side of the Carrera GT, annotating that a newcomer here to the Forza Spec Racing Series. That doesn't put you in a different division. It's just to kind of keep let other drivers know that you might have a little bit of adjusting to the series to do, but otherwise it's insignificant. Graduate to the green number board in Season 2, or your second season. Into pit lane is Sprazaus. Sprazaus, a commendable performance here in 11th, just outside the top 10. And maybe with that pit stop, well, here the fun is on the opposite end of the track, so it's going to require quite a bit of a comeback. But hey, 11th. 11th works, in my opinion. I don't know if Sprazaus thinks of it that way. Slow Motion Fire. The orange AM boards are basically the FM4 version of the rookie stripes. There you go. SGR Floofy with a little bit of traffic to deal with. However, on the straightaway, might make quick work here of Patches. Darts out to the inside here on the front straightaway, and now into turn number 1. Propels forward. Patches Riley having a good season. Came into the finale here, the 5th and final week, with 142 points in 11th overall. 10 in front of Grimm. And what is that? 15 behind Cheetah? Not bad. Not bad. As SGR Floofy, this is just indicative of how powerful the racing capabilities of Floofy are. Makes quick work of Fear the Fun there in 10th. Just as if Fear was standing still. Uphill at that. I mean, Floofy made that pass. Coming uphill. And made it look easy. This might be, we might be making record time here with this finale without the qualifying. I don't know, Slow Motion Fire might have a hot date to go to or something. He might have set this one up so that we were done early in the night. That's fair, Slow Motion Fire. Nobody will blame you for that. You can chalk it up to wanting to do something different with the reverse grid ordering, but if you've got to check out early, we're cool with that. Floofy now. The weather forecast is clear with a negative 100% chance of traffic. I mean, he's just about to go on a Sunday drive here at Mugello. If that hasn't already been the experience. Let's go to Slipstream in 7th with Born as Ghost in 6th. You see Slipstream, look at that, making a nice little pass on the outside there of Cheetah. Oh, no, hold on. Bring it back out onto the asphalt. There he goes. He was able to make the save. That was a cheek-clenching moment. Blue Dog Sim, I've really enjoyed the race. I'm looking forward to participating next season. Hey, Blue Dog Sim, if you don't mind, just drop your gamer tag there in the chat. If you don't mind, otherwise I'll see it when you register. But just kind of curious who to look out for, who to kind of make the connection of your Twitch name and your gamer tag. This is actually no. I understand the race might be longer, but without the qualifying, yeah. You don't have to make excuses, Slow. I mean, we're cool. The boys don't feel like we're getting ditched. Tavarius, got it. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you out there. you wish you had a hot date. Oh, we've got contact. Sprazows and the Onion with too many eyes. A little crazy here, and now our lead lap traffic are going to try to skate on through without getting caught up in that fun. Oh, wow, look at this. Born as Ghost, as they exit the final chicane, Born as Ghost is going to take the low line here. CMD Slipstream will be in tow. And down the front straightaway here to begin their lap 39 is Born in 6th, Slipstream in 7th, and Barf Monkey in 8th. Kuda 93 in 9th position, not far behind. CUDA 93 entering the final season, or the final week, with 192 points. Let me restate that. 192 points in 7th position. CUDA. CUDA is one of those names. CUDA is, I think, an example of a driver. I mean, CUDA already had skill. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like CUDA has gone from rags to riches here in FM4, but rather has demonstrated that, you know, just with a few seasons under the belt, like, there's going to be notable progress, and I think CUDA is definitely a shining example of that. Now, Slow Motion Fire, your comment there in the chat is completely without context. And so, for those of you who are joining us now in the broadcast, welcome. Slow says, eh. Yeah, this, well, it was a battle for 8th earlier. Now it's a battle for 6th. The variety of pit strategies has allowed these drivers to move up a few spots. And they're also doing it through their driving ability, but yeah, where it once was a battle for 8th, it is now a battle for 6th. Unfortunately, 3 DNFs here in this race. It happens. It happens from time to time. One of the nuisances of online racing, or just online gaming in general. Glory to mankind, says the front bumper sticker of Slipstream. I don't know the reference. Oh no! Slipstream! Yeah, I don't want that to be the commentator curse, but man, we were watching Slipstream closing in on Borna's Ghost, and just like that, poof, he vanishes into a world unknown. Where has he gone? We don't know. Very unfortunate. So here we are, Barf Monkey, the Pringles liveried Porsche Carrera GT, lap 41 of 45. We're winding down the final race of the season and our last look of 2003 Carrera GT in FM4. They don't revisit these vehicles. There's 700 plus cars in Forza Motorsport 7, and with this just being season 40, although it's spanned a good amount of time, the fact that it is season 40 means that there is a gazillion untapped potential. Well, I guess if you cut out the cars that won't be eligible here for FM4, that the R-Class cars and beyond, that takes out a chunk, but still, lots of cars to choose from. Where will SGR Floofy go with it for season 41? We'll just have to see. Slow Motion Fire says bad night to be on the mod team. 3 of the 5 are out so far in mod team there, meaning that Slow Motion Fire and the helpers here of FM4 to keep everything running on a really consistent basis. I mean, time-wise, they get you in, they get you out in about 2 hours. Well, haven't had that happen in a very long time. Welcome back, folks. Glad to have you here for what will be the finale, because SGR Floofy comes across the line for the beginning of lap 43. A disconnect? Wow. You know that sign on construction sites that says we've gone X number of days without a workplace incident. I should have had my tally of how many days it's been since we've had a stream disconnect. And unfortunately, I'd have to reset it right there. Racham in third. DTS Mondo in second. Floofy is still our race leader. Audrex in fourth. Barney riding solo. I mean, Barney is as good as he is. Just has been left to race this event by himself. Sure, he gets the passing. He gets to pass a back marker now and again. But I don't know if I don't know if Barney has seen any of his competitors for a good chunk of this race. But hey, fifth position. You do you. Nobody wants to race around you. That's their problem. Born as Ghost in sixth. Barf Monkey in seventh. Kuda 93 in eighth. Hear the Fun in ninth. Sprazouse now with Slipstream's DNF, very unfortunate DNF. Sprazouse moves into the top. And folks, welcome back. My apologies. I am looking at the diagnostics on my end, and I do believe this is a Twitch server issue and not an ISP issue for me. I am connected. I have a very solid connection here with the lobby. So my guess is that Twitch is a little wonky right now. Here comes SGR Floofy. The final lap, season 40, begins right now. That 46th lap that you see in the upper left, that's just a cooldown. This is, without a doubt, the final lap right here as SGR Floofy closes in on the back marker. That is Kuda. Kuda having a very respectable race, but cannot escape the clutches of Floofy here and goes a lap down, maybe even 2 laps down at this point. It's just how, I don't know, it's just Floofy's another level, and as maybe some of the more professional or more organized like leagues, and by that I mean like the pro leagues of the Forza Racing Championship. Floofy is a name that I would love to see competing. Has done really well, turned it up several notches here in FM4. Was challenged by RZ McQueen here in season 40. RZ McQueen's one appearance netted him a couple of victories, and SGR Floofy had to drop down a few, or lose a few points as a result, but then stuck with it. Ovation says, this isn't the pro league. This is a professional beer league, Ovation. The pro league. I meant the Forza. When I mean pro, I mean like the leagues that where there's the console, not the consolation prizes, but like actual like prizes on the line. And SJR Floofy across the line is our winner here at Mugello and the season 40 champion. Going back to back, season 39, season 40 will dictate the vehicle that is raced in season 41. And DTS Mondo, who had a great season here, entered the finale in second, will finish season 40 in second. Man, I want to see Mondo grab some more wins. I don't believe Mondo got any victories here in season 40. Did manage to get one in season, at least one in season 39. Would love to see more. And maybe even, I mean, he was battling for the championship, but find a way to work his way around Floofy. Here comes Ellis Barney, going to put on a smoke show for us. Little dirt thrown in for good measure. I'm going to duck away here, folks. Take note of the finishing order. We'll come back, talk to some of our drivers here in the driver spotlight, and yeah, we're going to be wrapping this one up early. But hey, a good season. All in all, you're watching X Venture live on Twitch TV, the conclusion of the Forza Spec Racing Series. I'll be right back after these messages. And thanks for joining me back here on Xventure. To those of you who made it through the disconnects, again, I think it's something related on the Twitch server side. I was able to maintain my connection with the racing lobby. I saw no issues with my modem. So my apologies for having to deal with that, especially there on the final laps of the finale here in Season 40. And sure enough, I wouldn't say picking up right where he left off in Season 39, apart from the fact that the result is the same. Definitely SGR Floofy was challenged here throughout Season 40, but ultimately the Porsche Carrera GT he selected here for Season 40 led him to victory lane. And sure enough, joining me here in the driver's spotlight now, SGR Floofy. When you picked the Carrera GT, did you see yourself winning in it, or were you thinking that this car might be better for somebody else and that you would then take a step back?
I thought I'd do pretty well in it. It's a bit of a handful, and that it sort of suits the way I like my cars to drive. So I thought I'd do pretty well, but it was such a departure from the previous seasons. Maybe it would suit someone else really well too, and I wouldn't expect it. But it was a pretty close season. I know Mondo had a really good handle on it all season.
Yeah, Mondo was right there within 10 points there coming into the final race of the season, and actually had I feel like the more difficult way up through the field. Apparently got held up by some of the not back markers at the time. It was a reverse grid order, had to work his way up through the field, and had there been another race or two here in this season, could have made it very, very interesting. Talking with SGR Floofy. What was it about the race here at Mugello that made this car seemingly react differently? And by that I mean tire degradation was through the roof here.
Yeah, tire deg was a much bigger issue than I anticipated at this track. I mean, it is a hard track on tires, and this car, it turns out, is hard on tires as well. So it's sort of combined into making for some interesting pit calls for sure.
Yeah, it helped definitely vary the pit strategy, where normally we see the one stop and everybody kind of within a 5-lap window all going in at the same time. That was not the case here, where we had drivers going in at various times throughout the race. Again, talking with SGR Floofy. Tell me about your experience going from essentially zero to hero here because of the reverse grid ordering, no qualifying for the final race here in Season 40. You went from the backest of the back, from 19th position on up to first, but did so within a lap and a quarter.
I had a good start, which definitely helped. I was able to jump a crate trim right at the start, and I was right behind Mondo actually going through the first set of turns. And between just everyone else racing hard and some mistakes and following Mondo, you're up to, I think, third, fourth, or fifth. And then Mondo had a light spin that was really unfortunate for him, but that put me up to, I think, second right out the gate. So a lot of luck involved for sure with most of that drive up through the pack.
Did you stick to pretty much your strategy the whole time, or was it one of those that you kind of played it by ear, lap to lap, look for an opportunity to maybe get in and open up the track a little bit, free it up of back markers, or were you pretty much saying, hey, I'm stopping here and here, and made that happen?
Well, it turns out I use nearly the most tires of anyone on the grid, so my pit stops were fixed, or I would have had to do a 3-stop instead of a 2. It was that close for me, only 1 or 2 laps each way. I think I was pushing 85% tires used when I pitted each time, which 1 or 2 more laps and I would have been losing huge amounts of time. So yeah, I just took my tires to the end and pitted, and that's where I had to go.
For those of us who were watching, yes, we had the ticker across the top, but what was that? I mean, if we're talking like 80% tire degradation, what in terms of seconds, what's the difference between a solid lap with fresh tires and then the 80% tire wear?
80% is where you start to see time loss. I'd say somewhere in the half second to a second, maybe.
Okay.
But 90 is where the car becomes virtually undrivable. You're losing 5-10 seconds a lap after 90. So I was really pushing it up to the limit.
A nice change of pace here in the Season 40 finale, because we normally, it's the fuel that dictates the stops, and in this case it was the tires. But SGR Floofy out at Mugello coming away victorious, not only in the race, but then also in Season 40. And so ultimately that leads me to my next question of, where are we going in Season 41? Are we sticking in S-Class? Are we dropping down a few notches? What I don't know, without
Well,
obviously telling us, because you won't. But where are we going? What's it looking like?
I figured I'd change it up a bit. It's going to be a car that some people I think will really like. Some we shall see. Just to give you an idea of where my headspace was at, I wanted to use the Plymouth Atomic Bubble car, which is sort of a futuristic looking thing, but it turns
Yeah,
out that was DLC.
that's off the
So I couldn't
list.
use
Yeah.
that. Yep, exactly.
If you were to take a poll right now, where do you think people stand in your selection at the end of the season? And we've heard drivers say, "Hey, I warm up to the vehicle as we go further into the season," which is to be expected. But do you think a lot of folks ultimately were happy with the car and were pretty proud of what they were able to do with it, or do you think maybe the majority disliked the vehicle?
Well, if you take the engine swap out of the equation, I think if we just go with how it drove, um, I think it's still some pretty split opinions, just because of the difficulty of getting it through races with a nice, clean record. So yeah, it's still a polarizing car, and then also polarizing with the wonderful engine swap that they put in it. So polarizing for two reasons there.
Yeah, and Slow Motion Fire and the crew that helps him put the cars together, Fear the Fun, and others. There's probably a bit of it that is about making the cars drivable, but then also a bit of it that makes it, or that they're attempting to make it challenging and making drivers feel a little bit out of their comfort zone to be successful in any given season. So we'll see what vehicle SGR Floofy picks for season 41. And again, for those of you who are participating or wish to participate in season 41, make sure you head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4, because as soon as Slow Motion Fire posts up the photos that just give you very minute details on what that vehicle is, if you guess it correctly, you get to pick the track for season 41. SGR Floofy, I hate the thought of seeing you depart. So are you going to try to go for the triple header here, the trifecta? We've not had anybody do that in the Forza Spec Racing series.
I'm currently planning on competing. I think at the very least, we'll see how the scheduling works out. But I hope to at least show up for races, and I'd like to compete again for the championship. But time will tell. I can't promise anything too much, of course.
The trifecta, that definitely describes it. Triple header, we'll have more than that. We'll have 9 races there in season 41, but the hat trick, that's what I was aiming for, the hat trick. It still eludes our drivers, not only SGR Floofy, at least up to this point, but then Craytrim, who has the most championships in FM4, and then others like AMS Family Dude, and gosh, who else? RZ and McQueen. Anybody? Can they go back to back to back? We'll have to see. All right, SGR Floofy, any shout outs here for your conclusion to season 40?
I think just to Mondo and Crate Trim and Audrex and some of the others, their pace was there. I know Mondo was a little ways back because of the incident this race, but every week I had to push for the results. So good season to them for that.
And you did. You sure did. And despite RZ and McQueen showing up there in week number 2 and stealing some points off the table, not letting that phase you and getting right back up there to the top. Well done. Well done. I actually did mean to ask you, SGR Floofy, you've won the season 40 championship. Now what are you doing next?
Oh, well, I've got a 24 Hours of Le Mans race coming up with a different group that I'm preparing for, which is always fun. But other than that, the weather's turning nice. I'll probably turn my attention outside for a little while.
The answer to that question, probably about 80% of the people watching know this. The answer is I'm going to Disneyland. So you failed on that. No, I hear you. Outside, getting outside and enjoying things, especially now that we're able to kind of mix and mingle socially again. So that's nice to know and all that. So and that's the Torah 24 hours that you're talking about for Le Mans, yeah?
Yes.
All right, so you guys make sure you're following the Race Torah, I believe is their handle, or actually it might be the real Torah. I don't recall, but just look for Torah or the Online Racing Association on Twitter so that you can keep up to date on the details of when that race is happening, but then more importantly, where it will be broadcast here on Twitch. And make sure you show those broadcasters their support, but then also the racers who are there putting on a magnificent show, 24 hours in a team racing environment there. Coming up very, very soon. SGR Floofy, great chatting with you. Congratulations again, not only on the race victory here at Mugello, but on the Season 40 championship.
Thank you.
All right, and now let's go ahead and bring into the chat. Starting off in the pole position, because of the reverse grid order that was new here in Season 40, based on championship points. Wiseman, I'm taking a look here at my sheet. It looks like maybe you finished, what was it, 13th?
Yes, sir.
Not bad for, the reverse grid order. Your point standing puts you out on pole, but you were able to hold off, Patches Riley, Nicky Bobby, and then, of course, we had some DNFs, but I'd take 13th.
I take 13th, too, is considering all this whole season, my internet issues, power outage, right? And on top of that, being able to start on pole today, I was excited. I don't care where I finished. I was happy with that.
There you go. And it was like I said during the broadcast, after a couple of laps in, I said that you had a nice run around the track in first until SGR Floofy came up behind you there about a quarter of the way into lap number 2. But you kept it pointed in the right direction all throughout lap number 1. So well done. I mean, a lot of folks, maybe that pressure would have them just like, all right, you know what, I'm just going to pull off to the side of the track, but not you.
Oh, no, I'm going to make a fight for that first place.
Make a fight.
He's already won the championship, so make a fight for it.
Very good. I like that mentality. You're on the lead lap at that point. He's got to get through you. Make him fight for it. Very, very cool. What are you hoping that maybe Floofy has in mind right now, vehicle-wise, for Season 41, assuming that you're going to be available to participate?
I'm hoping it's a classic muscle.
Oh, maybe we've had this. Have we had this conversation, or has somebody else told me that?
That's what I'm hoping for.
Okay. Any particular?
Yeah, I think we had it last time.
Okay. Any particular marquee? Any particular brand?
Oh, the Chevelle SS.
Yeah,
454.
I'm recalling this conversation. It's like deja. Well, it's not deja vu. It actually happened. But hey, for our viewers who are just now tuning in,
be fun.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I think the last time we had a well, I don't know. It's been a while. It really has. It really has. Okay, so that's what you're kind of hoping for in Season 41. What about the performance index? Would you want it to be a car that's beefed up pretty well, or would you like it to stay in its respective PI class with maybe just a few upgrades to take it to the top of that class?
See, even if they put it to a C500, that gives it a gear selection. That means you get to mess around with your gears. That puts you in sport tires. That gives you quite a bit of things to be able to tune it without it getting too outrageous.
All right. Yeah, fair enough.
And
talking with Wiseman.
That's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm hoping that'd be it.
Okay. And I think that's pretty reasonable to expect. I mean, we've seen from Slow Motion Firing and Company that there's times where they make very minute upgrades to the vehicles. Wiseman here in the driver's spotlight. You entered the finale in 20th position, making our top 20 for the leaderboard here on the broadcast, just behind Joe Beardy. Joe Beardy just racing for a couple of events here in Season 40, but then there was Spills 203, who unfortunately was not a participant tonight, but then Onion with Too Many Eyes. So is there somebody that you're kind of eyeing and thinking like, okay, my goal for Season 41 is to beat them?
I would have to say, you see, Onion with Too Many Eyes. He seems to be on pace. Patches Riley really picked it up from last season. I know we haven't seen Virus Thoughts this season, but it'd be great to have him out for the next season. Let's see here. Grim. I know we're the back half of the guys there, but I think we're all fairly close, and I know they've been watching how all of us have been racing each other, and they're really picking it up.
Yeah, and sometimes it's all it takes is like a vehicle for the next season to be one that gets people's attention of thinking, okay, now I feel like this is a car that I'd be comfortable in or competitive in, and before you know it, we see the likes of those names come back, and then of course maybe some new names too. I mean, we had Blue Dog Sem in the chat saying that he or she is going to be planning to participate in season 41. So. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Some of the names that you just rattled off, if they return, and then of course how well you're able to take them on. Wyzen, yes. Thankfully, the internet connection gods were in your favor here tonight. Any
Yeah.
any shout outs beyond the ISP friends? Anybody else you want to say thanks or hello or good night to?
Well, obviously the Goose Gang. Goose Gang Racing is. I know Ovation. There you are. I know Ovation couldn't make it finish the race this time, so I think that there I had to bring the team with me. So hopefully they're watching. I knew I spun out a few times out there, and I just had to get back to pace. But yeah, a shout out to the guys that run FM4. Fantastic group. They're really helped me and waited for me for my internet connections. They really
Yeah.
accommodated my situation. But yeah, there's a great team. I definitely give them the biggest props for it all.
A well-deserved nod to Slow Motion Fire and the helpers, the volunteers who make this thing happen week in and week out. Even for the 1 or 2 weeks that they're not doing something in the off season, they are doing something because they're preparing for the next 5-week season. So, Weisenmitten, great chatting with you. Love the thought, the insight, and the commentary that you provide here in the driver's spotlight. And I look forward to chatting with you again there in season 41.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll just be definitely try and get out there. I'm going to get this ISP all figured out and make sure I got a generator ready in case I get another power outage.
That's some big time planning right there. Wants to make sure that the generator is ready in a moment of an outage. Wiseman, who by the way gets 1 lap in P1, leading Floofy and the rest of the gang behind him in the rearview mirror. 1 lap. That's I like it. I wish I could lead a lap. Ellis Barney now joining me here in the driver's spotlight. Ellis Barney, I don't know. Is it okay for me to say that you got up there in the 5th position, just kind of settled in, and then made a happy home there?
Yeah, that's safe to say. I mean, I was up in the P3 at one point in the race, but slowly just kept making mistakes, getting in the sand, and just dropped back down to P5. But then I had a comfortable gap between the car ahead and the car behind that I just didn't have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw you with Kraytrim and Audrax there for a little bit early on in the race, and then fell back to 5th, and was back there for the remainder of it, and really not much company around you except for the every once in a while the back markers. How did apart from the few mistakes, how do you kind of grade yourself in that race, and did everything basically go according to plan strategy wise?
I'd say about a C minus. I was good on pace. Strategy was fine. Didn't damage the car, but yeah, just slowly just made mistakes and lost the chance to keep 4th in the championship. So yeah, it wasn't my greatest race, but it wasn't my worst.
Was the amount of tire degradation, was that a surprise to you, or did you get a chance to get some practice in and already take note of that?
Yeah, definitely before the race, I did some practice to see how much the tire wear would affect the car, and yeah, it caught me by surprise when I first tested it out. But by the time the race came, I wasn't too surprised by it. Plus, I just ran them much longer in practice than I would in the race, so definitely wasn't too worried about it. But yeah, it definitely played a little bit of a role.
Is it as interesting and kind of curious to you as a driver as it is for me and maybe some of the viewers who are watching and like, oh my gosh, this is a dynamic we haven't seen before? As I referenced in the race, it's usually the the lack of fuel that requires the pit stop and not degradation, and then times 2. So is it as fun for you to have a different approach here to the final race, or would you rather it be the fuel that dictates the stops?
Oh, I'd much rather it be fuel. The fuel doesn't really affect your times, doesn't really affect the way the car handles, but once the tires go on, you feel the car just understeer everywhere, maybe kicks out the rear over curbs, well, more than it would. But yeah, usually fuel is what you prefer to be running out of than tires.
You mean you don't like understeering into a corner with 582 horsepower in a Carrera GT? That's not fun for you?
No, I wouldn't call that my normal weekend plans. I mean, maybe every once in a while.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Ellis Barney here in the driver's spotlight should finish right around should finish basically where you entered. Well, I don't know. Audrex finishing there in 4th, you in 5th. Could be close depending on your whatever the drop week is going to be for you. But either way, top 5. Are you satisfied with that?
In the championship, definitely. It's my
Yeah.
best finish so far since EB110, so I think I was 6th overall.
Yeah.
I was hoping to keep 4th, but yeah, as I said, just the consistency wasn't there for me today. But hopefully next season I come back and have better consistency, and hopefully I can beat Audrex.
They know him as the rain expert in the Forza Spec Racing Series Discord. So, Barney, give us a forecast. What are the odds, the chances of a Suzuka rain race in season 41?
I might switch it up. I might not go Suzuka, but I'll definitely choose something in the rain. Maybe I think Le Mans has a rain option.
Yeah.
That'd be a good place to go. But
Bugatti or the Circuit de la Sarthe?
definitely not Bugatti. I can't pronounce that word, but definitely not Bugatti. It's one of my least favorite tracks, I'd say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, LS Barney. Any parting words before we head off into the off season here between 40 and 41?
Shout out to Audrex. He gave me a good battle this season. Hopefully I can come back and beat him next season. But yeah, I'm coming for you, Audrex.
Oh, I like it. I need to record that bit right there and play that back in the highlight reel at the beginning of the broadcast. The intro. He's known as the graphics department. I'm just rattling off the synonyms, the nicknames for folks in the Forza Spec Racing Series Discord. Cuda93 making things look good. Definitely contributing in the graphics department there on Twitter. If you guys are not following FM4_spec, I believe that's the handle. Make sure you do that, and you'll see the flashy, splashy graphics of Cuda93. Cuda, welcome to the driver's spotlight. It looks like eighth place finish there at Mugello.
Yep, 8th place. Not too bad tonight.
What did you make of the Carrera GT in this 45 lapper that required the 2 stops?
I actually did it in 1 stop tonight.
Whoa. Hold on, folks. Hold the phone. Finishing in 8th with only just 1 stop. So what was your tire degradation there in the final lap or 2?
So I tried to finish out the race before everyone else. I got lapped right as Floopy crossed for white flag. So I did 1 left lap during the race, but at finish it was about 85% for the front.
That's no small feat because you had Fear the Fun, and I suspect maybe Fear the Fun had some self-induced issues there that had him finishing where he did there 9th, although still very good finish. But you were able to hold him off with that 1 stop. That's really cool. Did you plan on that, or was it just a point in the race where you said, you know what, forget about the 2nd stop, I'm just staying out here?
I'd kind of planned on trying to cut 1 stop out of it. Right from the beginning of the season, when we were at Hockenheim, everyone was complaining about tire wear. People were saying they were at 95 by the end of the race, and I was only at about 60. So I knew that whatever I was doing with the car was working in my favor. So just tried to keep it as smooth and clean as possible because I knew I could stretch out that tire wear.
I made it a point to say that I believe I've seen improvement in your capability season over season. That's not to say that you entered FM4 as somebody needing vast improvement, but at least to me it seems notable. Are you seeing the same thing, or am I imagining it?
Oh no, I definitely. It's funny. I was just talking to some of the other drivers about that in chat. Last season, my goal was to hit top 10 in points. This season, I was like, okay, I'll try and do 8, and actually ended up with 7th by the end of the season. So next, I'm just trying to like move up a little bit every season, which in this car especially, which is super outside my comfort zone, I was really happy with.
Yeah, it's always nice when there's a vehicle where you're like, oh, I don't think I'm going to do so hot, and then you actually perform quite well. Slow Motion Fire in the chat saying, I was pushing Cuda 93 when I DNF'd. I was on a 2-stop strategy and knew I needed him to burn up his tires, but didn't get to see how it would play out because of the DNF. Next time, Cuda. Next time, says Slow Motion Fire.
Yeah, I was definitely thankful for that disconnect there. Sucks for him, but worked out in my favor.
Don't blow the engine, Slow Motion Fire. Then you can still be out there on the racetrack. Yeah, well, that's all. That's the best we could do for a disconnect is say that it's the equivalent of the blown engine. But what about you, Cuda? I mean, maybe it's in the name, but where do you want things to go season 41 car wise?
I'm open to pretty much anything as long as it is low horsepower, high grip. I love me a momentum car. The Miata and the M3 that we did recently were both right up my alley. So anything like that is good with me.
Maybe B class or even lower at C class?
Yeah, anything from C to A, really.
Yeah.
Rear-wheel drive. Muscle cars are always good for that because you can just not add any power and just add all of the tire and all of the aero, and they drive great. So definitely would love something like that.
Glove Slap in the chat says A-Class, and he's pretty excited about that one. Yeah, we've seen our A-Class seasons here in the Forza Spec Racing Series have been some of the exciting ones. V8 Vantage is one example that I can think off the top of my head. But yeah, A-Class would be nice. Just a little drop down from where we were here in Season 40 in the S-Class Porsche Carrera GT. All right, what do you've got here, Cuda, for shout-outs? How are you going to wrap things up for Season 40?
I mean, my new team for the season, Team Goon Squad. Shout out to all of them. Joe Beardy, Beer, Slim runs the team. It was great to be a part of a team for the first time this season. And then, as always, Slow Motion Fire and all the admin for RFM4.
No doubt. Can't. I suppose it can be done without them. Leagues come and go here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, but for it to happen just predictably and without failure, like they're able to go into the off season, get everything planned, and start week 1 on time, start the races on time, get everything within about a 2-hour window, and let everybody else get on with their week. It's really a testament to how well organized, but at the same time, how good of a racing experience it is for everyone. And certainly increasing that experience and helping bring a little bit of brand recognition and notoriety. Cuda, well done on the graphics here. I really like the new look. It's one of those, I think I might have mentioned, like it's certainly grown on me. Like initially it's like, wow, that's really cool and it's really radical, but now it's like, man, this is the FM4 brand right here.
Yeah, thank you very much. One more plug, I have to, because why not? My sponsor for the season is actually my own design company.
There you go.
Bad News Supply Company. Get the plug in.
Where can anybody? Maybe they need the services. Where can they get info?
Badnewsupply.com and then Bad News Supply on Instagram as well. We've got t-shirts and then custom designs as well.
There you go. Hit them up if you guys are maybe putting together a team just at large within the Forza community. Maybe you don't race here in FM4, but you've got participation elsewhere, or maybe for any other business needs you got. Make sure you guys hit up Cuda 93. Great chatting with you, sir, and look forward to seeing what kind of graphics you put together for season 41 and to see you out there on the track next season.
All right, thanks for another great season, Dustin.
Oh, thank you. I mean, you guys did it. I sat here. I just pressed buttons. That's all I say. I just pressed buttons. Cheetah joining us now in the driver's spotlight, finishing in 10th, right there on within the top 10.
Yeah, 10th.
Are you pretty excited about that? I can't gauge your excitement right now, but maybe you can expand upon it.
Yeah, it's a great finish. I was getting a little bit of trouble with drifting the course. So I was kind of concerned about tire degradation. Um, but
Wait, hold
turned
on,
out fine.
Time out, Cheetah. You can't say you can't say I was drifting the course, and in the very next breath say I was worried about tire degradation.
I can't say.
Well, I mean, if you're drifting the course, then you're probably not concerned about the tire degradation.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe a little bit clarification. Was it because of the tire degradation that you were drifting the course, or was it because of your drifting that your tires were degrading quicker?
Ladder.
Okay. All right. Well, what is it? Was it a little bit of maybe not the car? The car is not your style, or what was it that was leading to that? I mean, we saw some tire degradation on the rear wheels. Didn't seem like it amounted to a whole heck of a lot. But what was the reason here?
I mean, Mugello is just such a back and forth track. Once you make a left turn, you have a right turn to set up for right away. If you make a right turn, then you have a left turn to set up for right away.
Mm-hmm.
Never really get a break. So just the back and forth kind of got me loose a little enough to make me drift a lot of the corners.
Gotcha. Yeah. So inadvertent drifting. I was interpreting as, hey, I was drifting the course, and as a result, I was purposely drifting, and by default, I was eating up my tires. But no, you're saying that yes, there are a lot of high speed corners, a lot of S corners here out at Mugello. So yeah, definitely if things are just not jiving driver and car, then those things can happen. Where do you want to see things, either PI wise or if there's a specific vehicle? What would be like your ideal car for Cheetah here in season 41?
My ideal car would be an open wheel, high downforce car. Now, I think most of those are X class, but the 60s F1 cars are S class. So I'm hoping for those. If not those, then probably a C class car.
Glove slap might be okay with the C class car. With the 60s Formula One, a little nervous about that one. But hey, it would be something different.
Yeah,
I
definitely would.
Do you have a lot of experience with those cars? Does the high downforce help out, or is that just because like you're interested in getting behind the wheel of those?
I run Indy cars a lot, so as many open wheel cars as I can run, I'll run them.
Glove slap also saying those open wheelers scare. Glove slap. Yeah, I mean, any events that I've run, anytime I bust out with the open wheel cars, apart from maybe like the Mazda, the Mazda Formula or the Ford EcoBoost, whatever thing it is. Apart from those two, everybody else fears the Formula Ones and all that. The Bach, BAC, however you pronounce that. But okay, well, and then what about the C class car? So you said C class. Would that be like muscle or tuner? What kind of vehicle?
Like hot hatch, kind of thing.
Okay.
Like not a muscle. I don't like muscle cars, but yeah, those slower cars which with more downforce, better turning.
Slow motion fire says 60s F1. What downforce? I know, but I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Open wheels.
Chaos.
They have more downforce than the Porsche did.
Okay. Well, yeah, without the arrow, the Porsche not having the arrow, that might be true. Talking here in the driver's spotlight with Cheetah B119. And by my math, if it's not failing me, it looks like you may finish in the top 10 of the season. So not only grabbing a what would that be, a 10th place finish here at Mugello, but then maybe 10th overall in season 40.
9th place in the standings. I inched out slow motion by 1 point to get 9th. So very happy with that. Got my goal.
Well done. Soul Mission Fire doing the tally of the points, putting Cheetah ahead, just ahead, edging him out there in the final one. Cheetah, any shout-outs tonight?
How about Sprazows? He was just running right with me for entire race. It was kind of funny because he would hit the gravel, I would pass him, then I would hit the gravel, he would pass me, then he would hit the gravel, and we just kept flip-flopping spots, and it was just so funny. I was able to inch him out at the end, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, for Sprazows not having not the ability to compete throughout the season, and so was only able to get a few races in there. Yeah, I would agree. Very, very well done there, Sprazows, in this final race of the season. Cheetah, great chatting with you. Hope for more opportunity there in season 41, and at the very least, we'll see you on the track.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and bring into the driver's spotlight now the man, not a myth. We've seen him out on the track. He exists. Legend, in my mind, but I guess that could be debatable. Slow Motion Fire now in the driver's spotlight, finishing somewhere. No, DNF'd in this race out at Mugello, and as a result, falling down a little bit there on the overall standings. That's a bummer. That's a bad way to finish out the season. Oh gosh, here we go again. Slow? I don't know what it is. How about now?
Can you hear me now, Dustin?
There we go. There you go.
Can you hear me
I
now?
swear you do this on purpose.
I gotta cycle the mute every time for some reason.
Thanks, Discord. No, I was asking, and you might have heard me, but I'll restate it so it doesn't sound awkward here in the interview. But not the way that you would have wanted to finish season 40 with the DNF at Mugello.
No, I just got the car kind of dialed in to where I was happy with it there and was having a good race mid-pack with Kuda and Slip, and the car let go.
Car let go, got the DNF, dropped down the overall standings, which is a bummer because you were in the top 10, and you might still be in the top 10, just depending on how those. Well, I don't know. You tell me. You've already done the points. Did you finish top 10 overall?
Yeah, just snuck into the top 10
Just
there,
snuck in
just
there.
behind Kuda.
Nice.
Or not Kuda, Cheetah.
Sorry. Yeah, Cheetah. Cheetah getting up into 9th position. How do you feel the reverse grid order worked out? With that being kind of a new thing here, not only for season 40, but I don't know. Have you guys done this before ever?
No, this was the first for it, and I thought it was fun. I thought it provided some interest there to the final race of the season, but from behind me, it looked like there was some drivers that need a little practice with it. It looked like it got a little chaotic there as some of the fast drivers were trying to come through the pack, and I think a couple drivers stalled off the line, which only kind of bunched everybody up even further. So, but I had fun with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same mindset where I thought maybe the faster drivers, we'd see them emerge back up into the front within about 4 or 5 laps time. The fact that it happened much earlier, we saw Floofy all the way back up into P1 shortly after the first lap, really means that they were working through the grid pretty quickly there. 45 laps. I'm guessing some folks could argue, hey, we don't need to be having folks fight up through the field from the back that rapidly, but then of course some others would say, well, that gives me the best shot to win if I get away from my competition. So what does it look like for them? Maybe season 41? Do you kind of gauge the driver's interest in doing that again, or do you guys run with it as a second test? I don't know. I know it's kind of early, but kind of maybe what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, we'll just kind of discuss it with the mod team and kind of discuss it with all the drivers and see how everybody felt about it and go from there.
Okay. Very very professional answer. What I would expect from any interview for the professionals. We'll think about it. We're going to talk it over. We're going to see how everybody likes it. We'll think about it. All right. Fair enough. But
Well, the hint there being I had fun with it, Dustin.
there you
so.
go. Hey, that's the answer I want to hear. I was like, no, Dustin, I loved it, and if it was completely my say, then we're doing it again in season 41. That's the kind of response that's okay. I know you got the reputation of the league to uphold, right?
Yes, the very prestigious reputation.
Talking with Slow Motion Fire here, driver Spotlight LS Barty. Slow would never give us a vote. This league is tyranny, not a democracy. Well, there you go. Barney, you get demoted from being an ambassador of FM4. We got to work on that. Everybody needs the ambassador badge. Still, I mean, in the Porsche Carrera GT, top 10 overall. Although you probably would have really loved to finish out the season with a checkered flag. Top 10 in this car doesn't seem half bad to me.
No, I'm happy with top 10 in this car. This just was not a favorite of mine. Again, like normal, about week 5, I kind of finally got a feel for it to where I liked it, and now we're changing car again. So,
which you don't have to say who the champion was that selected the car, but what car can you think of here now that you guys have celebrated 40 seasons of the Forza Spec Racing Series?
Not quite 40 years.
Not quite 40 years. If it worked that way, man, we're all way too old. But what would you say that what's the car that maybe folks have resented the most, or at least maybe the one that everybody's like, man, that was a bad idea?
Easily the Mercedes-Benz ML63 AMG SUV thing. By far the most unloved car in FM4 history.
Oh man, I'm trying to think because this was prior to me broadcasting, so I'm trying to think of who the 25 champions were preceding my broadcast to think who might have picked that one. Of course, for those of you who are watching, all you got to do is look back over at reddit.com/FM4. You could put the dots together, do your best investigative work to see who was responsible for that. What about season 41? Any other surprises beyond the possibility of maybe the whole reverse grid, or anything else that you guys are kind of throwing around?
There's nothing in the works right now, so it'll probably just be more of the same. We're back to next season will be pop culture liveries again, so look for all your favorite companies from TV, movies, video games, etc.
How do we get more stringent enforcement on that?
What do you mean? Normally we have the whole field as pop culture
I feel like
cars.
What
more could you want, Dustin?
I feel like there are one or two drivers who decide that the theme doesn't apply to them, and so I want to see from first to last pop culture themes.
We'll do our best, Dustin. We'll do our best.
Can we chastise them somehow? Can they get a can they start at the back of the grid every single race if they're not going to play along with the theme? What do we do? I look to you as the leader.
You can chastise them vocally and verbally.
LS Barty, I like this one.
That is what the Reddit is for, after all.
There you go. The Reddit, the Discord, just don't stop. Just keep giving them hell until they decide they want to throw a pop culture theme. I like LS Barney's idea, which now makes him again an ambassador. He's redeemed himself, and he's an ambassador of FM4. Bring a curse upon their homes. Yeah, so they shall have bad internet connection until the liveries have been corrected.
Ooh, that is a terrible curse. That would motivate some people.
It does require us, however, one important thing. We have to establish a cult, which might be frowned upon, especially with the prestigious brand.
Joe's been working on a cult, getting all the wheel users involved. So it's been started. There's a sub cult brewing.
So that's where Joe Beardy's been all season, huh?
Yeah, that's been taking all of his time, his priorities, running his wheel cult.
Fair enough. I can. Yeah, he's got some recruits. He's making an impact. Slow motion fire. I don't know what to ask you beyond that. I think that's really as much as I can come up with.
We have gone off the rails a little bit.
We've gone off the rails, but hey, if there's nobody else to back this interview up, then we might as well end on a chuckle. So, well, we'll end on a chuckle there, and now I'll ask you, more importantly, any shout-outs for your team, for the racers? Who do you want to give a shout-out to?
I'll just shout out to the mod team and to everybody that races with us. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. All these guys that behave, they make moderation duties easy, and that's great. Hassle-free and easy. Can't complain about any of them.
Very cool. They love to troll. They like to poke fun at each other. It's all in good fun. I promise you, it's nothing that you would be embarrassed to be a part of. At least I hope you wouldn't think that. So if you are interested in the Forza Spec Racing Series, head on to reddit.com/r/fm4. The details for season 41 not yet posted, but so when might we see the teaser photos?
So pending my work schedule, I'm going to get those teaser photos out tomorrow night, but it may be a little later than normal. They'll go up sometime after 7.
So there you go. If you identify yourself as a racer for season 41, even if you're new to FM4 and maybe you can't even race all of the events, but you do plan to be there for some, as many as you can, then let Slow Motion Fire know. There is a registration form that they have, and they'll get posted up as soon as registration opens, which won't be for a while. But at least if you say, hey, I plan to participate, you guess the teaser photo or you guess the car that is in the teaser photo correctly, then you can get a selection of one of the 9 tracks there in season 41. A little incentive for you to participate and be engaged with what they're going through there and doing there in FM4. Slow Motion Fire, an absolute privilege. I look forward to seeing what the season 41 has in store for us.
Thanks for all you do, Dustin. We'll catch you in the gap weeks.
That's right. At least for next week, I can tell you with certainty. Next Tuesday, a week from tonight, I'm like 99.9% sure that I'm gonna fire up Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm gonna pick 2 points that are about 2 flight hours away from each other. And we'll do a little bit of flying in Flight Simulator. It's been a while. I haven't been in there for a bit, and they've done some updates. And to my understanding, there even has been some optimization so that it continues to run better as opposed to worse. So look forward to checking that out, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on XVenture. And then as soon as we get info on season 41, the start date, you better believe I'll have that posted to Twitter, and then you can expect to catch that in its entirety. Green to checker coverage, week 1 through week 5, right here on XVenture. All right, folks, that does it for me. I'll be live again. Let's see, how can I do this? I think I can do, yeah, this will work. Because I'll be back to baseball. Well, it says Friday and Sundays. It actually might just be Sunday. Friday, I might reserve for American Truck Simulator. I had a little bit of that going on this past Friday. That was fun. And I'm still waiting to see. I don't know. Maybe it even released today. I didn't take a look, but the Wyoming DLC for American Truck Simulator, looking for that to hit. Also, I'm planning at some point here on a Saturday, one of these upcoming Saturdays, to get an XVenture game day in, which might feature American Truck Simulator, so that I can kind of enjoy Wyoming and the rest of the game in a long playthrough. So who knows? It's always kind of a toss-up, but I think pretty much what I have locked in for Sunday is baseball. So I'll go ahead and leave this up. That'll start at 8 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, but check in at 6 p.m. on Friday. If you've got nothing going on at the start of the weekend, I'll help you kind of I'll usher you into the weekend with a little bit of fun content, probably American Truck Simulator. That's where I'm kind of leaning right now. So ATS Friday, MLB on Sunday, and then MS FS, if I'm going to use all the acronyms. Microsoft Flight Simulator, a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Y'all take care. Have a great rest of the week. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Hopefully we get to the weekend sooner rather than later. Stay happy, stay healthy. And yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for tuning in. Season 40, it's in the books. See you next time right here on X Venture. Uber Nuts, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it.